Thus, the XTOOL laser-enhanced screen printing solution finally makes screen printing truly accessible to crafters and home-based businesses everywhere. Is it as much fun to use as they make it look? And most importantly, am I giving one away together with the XTOOL D1 Pro 5-watt laser? Only one way to find out. Let's make t-shirts. Now, I had a 4-pallet, 6-color screen printing setup before I even knew what DTF was. I bought a $20,000 setup, which included everything that was necessary. Things like a vacuum exposure unit, a conveyor dryer, a flash dryer, and a flash curing unit, which, by the way, almost burned down the house, and some nice-to-haves, including a dipping tank, a wash booth, and an alignment tool. I also had to get like 40-something screens, even though I didn't know how to screen print yet, just because I wanted to be ready for anything. The darn thing took over the garage real quick, but I was excited. I mean, how can you not be? You make a screen, you push some ink through it, and ka-ching. But boy, was I wrong. I quickly realized how much work and materials it took to making shirts, and I didn't enjoy how much time it took to make a screen. First, you clean the screen, and then you degrease it, and then you dry it. Then you apply emulsion to it and let it dry again in a cool, dry place that's not exposed to UV light. Once it's ready, you test it out, and if you messed up somewhere, you have to do the whole process over and over again. And that's just with a 1-color artwork. Imagine having to do 3-4 colors and having to redo the screens because it's not coming out right. And I know that I'm being a baby about it because it takes time and practice to learn anything, but I was a one-man production, marketing, sales, and accounting team, and trying to do all of that while I was still teaching, and I did not have time for that. So I got a DTF printer, sold my screen printing equipment, and never looked back until now. Because this might be a game changer. And if this thing can do what it says it can do, then this can level the playing field. So I'm looking at this thing, and right off the bat, you'll see that they took a lot of care in making this. The locks are solid and sturdy, and man, and that finish, man, can you see that? I hope you can see that. And I like how they put these micro registration knobs so that you can easily adjust screens when you're doing multicolor print. We'll talk more about that later, but for now, let's see how hard or easy it is to make a screen. So this frame's important. And right now I have flipped upside down, and I'm going to get the screen printing mesh, flip it so the cardboard is inside that frame, put it on there, grab this, tuck it in place on one side, and then lock it in place, then turn it around, lock it in place, and then do the other 2 sides using these. And lock that in place. This end took a little bit persuasion to get it in there, but we're all good to go. I'm going to flip it over, remove that cardboard, and I think we're ready. We're going to tap it like a drum, just like Milo said from Milo Prints. And we're going to go back to this thing. You see these 3 notches right here. Those are water adjusted. I'm going to move these knobs, the micro registration knobs. And you're going to need this board that has those notches that correspond to these. And this is magnetic, so it's not going anywhere. I'm going to show you something here on this board. So I told you about these micro registration knobs, and I like how the platen has symbols that say this one is adjusted left to right at the top, this one's at the bottom. I wish that they had a center line here so that we can center this board or this platen, but we do have this, and it's going to help out a lot. So I'm just going to adjust it a little bit, and it looks pretty straight. So I'm just going to move it to the center. But if you want to get one of these, they're going to come to you unassembled, but the assembly process is pretty easy. But in this video, we're not going to go through that because this guy right here already did an amazing, perfect video about it. And I want to get to the meat of this video, which is laser engraving your screen and using that to screen print. And the first thing that we need to do is download the software. This is your XTOOL Creative Space, and I'm in there now. But as you can see up there, it says please connect the device. And to do that, we're going to need this printer cable that came along with it. So I'm just going to plug that in. XTOOL, power it up. This is about to get good. And see if I can connect the device. Okay, there we go. Firmware update, or the switch may fail. All right, we're good. So this update took less than 1 minute to happen. Once it was completed, we uploaded our first image. Confirm. So to upload the image, all you have to do is click on this upload button, go to where your image is. Or one very important thing to remember is that the XTOOL Creative Space will only accept SVG files. So this is our first image. As you can see there, unit is in millimeters, but I want to change it to inches. Okay, there's settings. And I want it in inches. because that just makes more sense to me. And when we click on it, it tells me that it's 1.69, no, it's 10 inches wide by 12.97 tall. And I don't want it to be that big. I want it to be about, say, 9.5. So I can click and drag this to move it. I can click and drag this as well, or I can just say I want it to be 9.5 inches wide, and it should properly scale. Now, another thing that I'm going to do is I am going to rotate it like so, then center it. And finally, because we are engraving on a screen, I am going to reflect it vertically so that the image is mirrored. And this is what we have. Now, a couple of things here that you have to remember. We have this easy set panel that's going to allow us to change the number of passes, lines per cm, the power, and the speed of the laser. Now that we're good to go, one thing that we need to remember is that, you're going to have different settings for different materials when you're laser engraving. And I can set up my own user-defined settings and adjust all of that with one click of a button. But if I go to processing and look at material here, you're going to see that we have a whole bunch of different materials that you can laser engrave. And what we're looking for is your 0.2 millimeter coated screen 100 mesh. And so now we're ready to go. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to try and engrave this and then screen print it. Let's go. So we are now ready to engrave, well, almost, but we need to install this part, and I'll explain that in a second. But the way that we use it is we slide it under two of the legs and make sure they go into that hole. And we do that so we can fit these two notches right here, like right there. And this is mostly for multicolored designs so that we can put the screen in exactly the same place every single time, and we're not going to have a hard time adjusting it once we're screen printing. And now that we're almost ready, all we need to do is adjust this up so that we can move it so, and focus it using this little attachment, and our laser should be focused. And of course, the operational word here or phrase is should be. We might need to do a little bit of calibrating. All right, here we go. Press the button on the device, start processing. Exercise caution when processing flammable materials. Oh boy, here we go. Got that ready, and let's do it. Okay. It hit the limit. So this is a little bit harder than I thought it would be. Framing. All right, now that that's done, process. Ooh, here we go. Like I said, got this here just in case. Press the button on the device. Okay, here we go. Oh boy. Oh, did I wear this? Safety first. So right now it's doing a really, really good job of cutting it, I think. We're going to see once we're done with it. I'm not going to keep this camera running just so it don't ruin the sensor, because it might ruin the sensor. But that's how fast it's going. This job is going to be about an hour, so we have a little bit of time to just chill. And now comes the fun part. Lasers. Now, the great thing about doing this is that it doesn't have to take so much time. All you have to do is upload the file, set it up, and then let it go. Now, this image that we're doing right here, and I'll show you what it looks like later, but it's a 6x7 image. It'll take me about an hour to engrave it, but while all that's happening, I can just sit here while I'm watching it because, working with lasers, and we don't want to leave it unattended because there's a potential for fires, but I can just have it working here while I'm working on the computer. And by the way, if you're super excited about getting the XTOOL laser enhanced screen printing equipment and you just want to buy it right now, it would really help the channel out if you click on the affiliate link below. Because with the editing team, these videos get a little bit expensive to make, and clicking that link will be a big, big help for us. All right, let's get back to the video. This just got done. We're going to check it. This design took 1 hour, 46 minutes to do. This was the design, and this is what the screen looks like. So I have to blow air through that, but after we're done, we are going to test it out and make some t-shirts. Now this is where the rubber meets the road. So So right off the bat, I already know that I made a mistake. See, if you look at the design, it's not fully centered and it should be higher up. I'm gonna have to make adjustments for that. And I already know that we're gonna get better at this at no time flat because it's super easy to learn. But I do have to center it, route it down, and then lock it back in place. Turn this knob and we're set. Grab a shirt, pull, grab some ink from the kit that comes with it. In our case, we're gonna use black. Oh, and the spatula and squeegee, they come with a kit too. Flood. We've done our first pull, and let's see what it looks like. Ooh, wait, look at that. Okay, right off the bat, you see that the shirt lifted, and the way that you can interact that is by having some adhesive on the pattern. I don't have any adhesive here. See how here, nice and crisp, but when you look on the other side, that happened, same thing with premium, that happened because the ink lifted, or I mean the shirt lifted. Now the great thing is that the kit came with this. So I'm gonna see if it works with a shirt. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world because there are adhesive tapes and sprays that you can get there just for this specific purpose. But we're gonna try it again. All right, look at that. See how much nicer that looks? So this shirt isn't quite perfect, but if you look at it, it looks really, really nice. I've got a little bit of artifact over there, but that's more my technique than the laser cutter and screen printing solution itself. It's a lot low even on this one. So if I wear this, it's gonna be right where my abs should be. So I still need to figure out how to lay it out so that it engraves 3 inches from where the center collar seam is. But other than that, I think it looks great. Let's try some more t-shirts. And now we're gonna try it with some gluing. And as expected, so all of those parts that have gaps in them, because I didn't clean it thoroughly and I didn't have the right tools for it, so I just washed this thing, but it's super wet, so I'm gonna try and add up quickly. Oh, you know what? And we should be done in a few minutes. But hopefully you sorted that out. Final output. So as you can see there, it looks very, very sharp. Although I missed some spots there, this is not an issue with the XTOOL. That is an issue with me. So like I said, this thing still has a little bit of a learning curve, but it looks pretty good to me. So that is our first attempt at using the XTOOL laser enhanced screen printing solution. My first impressions, there are some things that need to be improved on this, but for the most part, I love this piece of equipment. It's definitely easier than your traditional screen setup with the added bonus of not needing so much space. I mean, I don't know if you noticed it, but we did all of the laser engraving, screen printing, and all that on this one tiny table. The hardware is pretty robust. I mean, it's anodized steel. Come on now. And the software, I mean, you can learn it in one day, not even. And at the price point that it's at, this is a bargain for anyone trying to get into screen printing. Whether you're a crafter, someone that's using DTG or DTF, or outsourcing your screen printing, this tool can definitely help you out. So easy to use. Now, is it perfect? No, but that's okay because this is our first gen XTOOL laser enhanced screen printing equipment. And the issues that I have with it has more to do with inconvenience than actual problem. For example, at the moment, they only have a 100 mesh screen available for this, and it would be great if they had everything from 100 mesh all the way to 305. But one way to get around that is to grab some screen from your local supplier, adapt it for this frame, coat it with emulsion, and laser engrave it. This video has a great demonstration of how to do that. Another thing that could be improved here is I wish that XTOOL had a rotary setup where you can load multiple screens so you can do a 3, 4, 5 color design with ease. Because currently I know that you can do it with this. It should be pretty easy as well, but for every color that you're going to be using, you're going to have to remove the frame and replace it with a second frame. So XTOOL, we're waiting on that multi-screen setup. Also, one last thing, I wish that there was more space here, because if you have a big shirt that you have to print on, the fabric tends to pile up here, and if you miss that, that's too much and you're gonna mess up your print. However, that is a nice to have for convenience like the other things, because all you really have to do is just bring it all the way in and you should be clear. So would I recommend it? The answer is a definite yes. Because like I said in the beginning, when I started screen printing and I was just super new at making t-shirts, we spent $20K purchasing screen printing equipment and quickly realized that it was not the route for us. So while at the moment, this might not be the perfect long-term commercial setup, I guarantee you, if you're just getting into screen printing, I suggest you get the XTOOL Laser Enhanced Screen Printing Solution and start building your screen printing and t-shirt business without having to go through most of the learning curve. In fact, I love this so much that I partnered up with XTOOL so that I can give this kit to you. Now it's going to be a little bit used up because I'm going to play with it. So why give it away? Well, because we're close to hitting 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and I am very grateful for all the love and support y'all have been giving us. So when XTOOL sent me this, I asked them if I can give it to one lucky subscriber, and this company is so generous that they said yes. Woo! So like I said, as soon as I'm done playing with it, I will give this whole kit, the screen printer, the laser engraver, all the inks, anything that's left after I'm done playing with it, I'm going to ship it out to one of you lucky YouTube subscribers. All you have to do is tell me what projects you're going to work on with this and put them in the comment section below. It's that easy. Now I'm going to be doing 2 more projects with this, but after we're done, I'm going to pick the most original project that you can put on there. And if I pick your project, this goes to you. For more details, click on the XTOOL giveaway link below, and let's make t-shirts.